Hi, my name is Ashley Pizzolato. The date is Monday, November 29th, and today we will be talking about different types of sentences in English. So here's a brief overview of the different types of sentences. We have simple, which is an independent clause by itself, a compound sentence, which is two independent clauses, a complex sentence, which is a independent clause with a dependent clause, and then a compound complex, which is two independent clauses with one dependent clause. So a simple sentence, like I said, is just an independent clause by itself. It has a subject and a verb. And in the examples, we have Sue wrote a novel. So in this case, wrote is the verb that's acting in the sentence, and Sue is the subject. And then we have Jeff talked to his friend. Talked is the verb and Jeff is the subject. So it's just a regular simple sentence. Now we have compound sentences. They're made up of two independent clauses, and since they have to be linked with something, they're linked with a conjunction, usually a coordinating conjunction. So our examples for this one are the man fed his dog and he gave her a treat, and Lee didn't study for his test, so he got a bad grade. So in the first example, the man fed his dog is an independent clause, as well as he gave her a treat. So on their own, those would be considered simple sentences, but they're linked with the coordinating conjunction and. So the man fed his dog and he gave her a treat altogether is a compound sentence. The second example is acting in the same way. The clause Lee didn't study for his test is independent, and the clause he got a bad grade is also independent, but they're linked with the coordinating conjunction so, and that makes it a compound sentence. So now we're going to talk about complex sentences. Complex sentences involve an independent clause with a dependent clause, so a little bit different than what we've been dealing with up to now. They're either linked with relative pronouns or subordinating conjunctions. Relative pronouns are words like which, that, whose, whomever, etc. And subordinating conjunctions are words such as after, although, while, though, etc. So in our examples below, we have after she went upstairs, she did her homework, and the person that I saw yesterday was arrested for shoplifting. So in the first example, after she went upstairs, she did her homework. The clause after she went upstairs cannot stand by itself, so that is our dependent clause. And she did her homework can stand by itself, so that's our independent clause. This sentence in particular uses a subordinating conjunction to link the sentence. In the second example, we have the person that I saw yesterday was arrested for shoplifting. The dependent clause is inserted kind of in the middle of the sentence. So the person was arrested for shoplifting can stand on its own, but the clause that I saw yesterday is unable to stand on its own, making it the dependent clause. And this sentence uses a relative pronoun in order to link the sentences together. Now we're going to look at probably the most difficult of the sentence types, which is compound complex sentences. So these are usually comprised of two independent clauses and one dependent clause, and they're they're linked by subordinating conjunctions, which I talked about in the last slide, as well as coordinating conjunctions, which are words like and, but, or, so, etc. So in the example below, we have while Joe's daughter was sleeping, he wrapped her Christmas presents and his wife put them under the tree. The phrase while Joe's daughter was sleeping can't really stand by itself, but the clause he wrapped her Christmas presents can stand by itself, and the clause his wife put them under the tree can also stand by itself. So it's easy to identify using the sort of rules up top that this is a compound complex sentence since it does have two independent clauses with one dependent clause. Here's another example of a compound complex sentence. I broke it into a diagram so it would be a little bit easier to see the parts put together. So our main sentence is, I am always on time, but my sister is always late because she doesn't have a watch. So the phrase, I am always on time can stand on its own with no problem, as well as the phrase, my sister is always late. But the one clause in the sentence that can't stand on its own is because she doesn't have a watch. So that makes the first two clauses independent and the last clause dependent. So now here at the end, I've posted a few examples if you would like to do them on your own. The first one, she went to the store. The second one, he was late to his doctor's appointment so they wouldn't see him. Then the third one is Jane asked him to read over her report. The fourth one is after Mary called her mom, she took a nap. And the fifth one is while John was waiting for his clothes to dry, he ate breakfast and his girlfriend fed his cat. So using the parameters in the last few slides, see if you can do this on your own, and the answer key will be posted in just a second. So here are all the sentences again with their answers. I hope that you learned how to identify the 4 sentence types, and thank you for watching.